It's June of 1991. Home consoles have only just begun to gain some relevance, and the Sega Genesis needs to drop a banger of a title in order to be able to compete with its competitor, Nintendo. They release in this month Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's met with absolutely critical acclaim. So successful, in fact, that two sequels are quickly made following its initial release, Sonic 2 and then Sonic 3 and Knuckles, with each game improving upon the last. These games are all considered to be the pinnacle of the series, and 30 years later, that still holds up. The series has since had its ups and downs, but overall Sonic has remained a fun platformer to play. As long as you aren't on one of the downs, of course. But let's go back to those original games. It's been 30 years now since the original Sonic released, and there's entire generations, two of them, that are now too young to have experienced the games like the older generations did. I remember playing Sonic 1, and then later exclusively playing Sonic 2, when I was only 4 years old at my grandmother's house. I remember running around with a bunch of kids, pretending we were Sonic in preschool. That's how influential and iconic Sonic was. But those initial games were not made for kids. They were hard, almost unfairly so at times, and as such, I never managed to beat them. Sonic 1 in particular, I don't really have any memories beyond the second zone. So I decided, you know, it's time for a retrospective. Let's see where this series began. Let's see how it holds up 30 years later in terms of gameplay, level design, flow, and just in terms of being a fun game. So I found an emulator, I downloaded a ROM of Sonic 1, and I decided let's get started. And you're met immediately with the iconic screen of Sonic wagging his finger at you as the catchy title music plays. And I've got to say, the nostalgia here, even for someone like me, who didn't continue to play this game through his teenage years, hits hard. I can remember that iconic finger wag from the hours that I would spend playing this game at my grandma's. So after a brief moment of enjoying the nostalgia, there's nothing to do but hit start and get into the game. And let me tell you, the game is at its absolute peak in this first area. Green Hill Zone is everything that the level design should be in a Sonic game. There's multiple paths, there's ways to pick up speed, you could speed run it ridiculously fast with only a few bits of memorization, and there's very few unfair obstacles that you can find. Even in terms, I honestly think Green Hill Zone could fit in Sonic Mania, for the most part unchanged, and it would be completely fine. It would hold up to modern level design standards. It is an incredible level, and I could imagine that many teens would only play this level. I bet you people spent hundreds of hours optimizing their speedrun route, running through this level as fast as they could, because it's really the only level like this. Well, there is one level, but it's after a zone that I have a lot to say on. Anyway, Green Hill Zone is everything you want from a Sonic game. You got speed, you've got rings, you've got speed boots, you've got alternative paths, you've got the best music. It's got a fun boss, it's got fun secrets, it's got extra lives so that you can prepare for when you get all of them robbed from you. It's got everything you could possibly want. And I really don't have much else to say on it. It's just the best. Oh, speed shoes are ridiculous in this game. There's that. Speed shoes are ridiculous. But despite how much I'm singing this level's praises, there are some hints of what you'll end up encountering later on in the game that maybe I didn't like so much. Anyway, so after you beat your first boss, which there's 3 acts instead of 2, which was weird, I didn't remember that, but now it's time for you to go over and free the small creatures of the forest. Aren't they adorable? This kind of stops being a plot point eventually. But regardless, the day is saved, and now it's time to go to Marble Zone. And this is where the game kind of shifts from what you expect from the more modern Sonics. The pace of the game slows down a lot, and rather than staying as a speed, momentum-based platformer, it kind of turns into a platforming game in the more traditional sense. There's a lot of tight jumps to make, a lot of times where you've got to be pretty patient and wait for cycles, and there's even a few puzzles, which my first time that I saw that, I was embarrassed because I'm so used to just holding forward in a Sonic game that I failed what should have been a basic IQ check. Sonic 1 had really good... Forgot about that. Sonic 1 had really good enemy variety. And actual puzzles as well. Like, this is more a platforming game than what the Sonic games became. I am stupid and I soft-locked myself. But... Please, can I despawn it? Oh, thank God. Yeah! But, you know, in my defense, I didn't know that 1991 had the technology for, pressure plates that you could put blocks on. Guess that's an older design choice than I thought. Anyway, so you run through Marble Zone, and it's overall fun. It's fine. It's fair platforming for the most part, but you do start to see some of the issues of the first game come out. I'm only going to give a few examples now, because I think there's going to be a lot throughout this video, but there are a lot of walls and floors and just traps in general where you'll get stabbed by spikes or hit or launched back from a spring, and you really won't have a way of knowing that it's there until you just run your face into it. But overall, the momentum of the level stays good. The platforming can be done pretty quickly outside of one section where you've got to ride the slow-moving block, and it's a harmless level that's a lot of fun. I liked it. I wouldn't say it holds up as well as Green Hill Zone does, but it definitely holds up. And then you get to Spring Yard Zone, which is, I guess, the proto-casino level. If every Sonic game needs to have a casino level, this is the closest we get in Sonic 1. It's fun. There's a few gameplay design elements to it that I question, but the music's still good as always. It's not offensive, and the parts that aren't great are forgivable. They don't insta-kill you or anything, except for one thing. The game starts introducing mandatory waiting here, and it's not bad the first time you're going through, but if you try to replay through this game, you very quickly start to feel nothing but agony anytime you come upon these blocks that slowly rotate up and down. And if that doesn't, and if they're not bad enough as they are, there's one part where they will just kill you if you jump up. I don't know why exactly. I guess you touch the side, and then Sonic stands up too quick, bumps his head, and falls over dead. But this is where the second problem of Sonic 1 comes in, and that's that this game doesn't understand it's a home console game and not an arcade game. Despite the fact that Sonic is technically immortal with rings, he is really prone to getting crushed in this initial game. Marble Zone is where it starts, with most of the obstacles being crushers, but they're forgivable enough because you really shouldn't get hit by them. It's not like their timing's tight or like it's very difficult to dodge them. It's not like there's bottomless pits, you fall in the lava. But Spring Yard Zone is where it starts getting a little bit brutal with it. One with things that you just can't see coming in front of you, smacking you as you're playing through the level. And two with things crushing you when it really feels like they shouldn't, but it's not that bad. The gameplay is still fun. You can always slow down if you have to and learn the levels better first. So, once again, no real complaints. This is what I'd consider the middle of the game. Marble Zone and Spring Yard Zone. Green Hill Zone is the beginning. Marble Zone, Spring Yard Zone kind of change up the pace, turn it into more of a platformer. And both of these levels are tons of fun with great bosses at the end, and I enjoy beating them. Spring Yard Zone especially, because I don't know how often I got through Marble Zone when I was 4. Because it felt very new to me. And I got to find a lot of secrets that I know for a fact I never found when I was younger, starting from this point on. And then I hit the part of the game that, honestly, it's like they forgot they were trying to make a fun game. Anyone who's played through Sonic 1 in full knows what I'm talking about. And that is Labyrinth Zone. Take all of the fun that I was having, take all of the momentum, take all of the joy of playing Sonic, take all the speedrunning fun, Now imagine that you're running through gelatin. It feels like you've got delay on every button input. You drown. Yeah, drowning's not even the worst part of this level. The drowning adds extra stress. You get the iconic "you're drowning" music. You've got to grab a bubble. Every so often this mechanic doesn't work and you'll just kind of die because the bubble doesn't want to appear. That's all just Sonic. That's fine. In this game, being underwater is worse than it has ever felt. I'm gonna say I probably just never beat Spring Yard Zone. Because this zone, there's no way I would have forgotten it even 17 years later. Unless this is just some repressed childhood memory. You go from this fun, momentum-based speedrunning game to this claustrophobic underwater section full of unfair bullshit. You can just be running along and thinking you're safe, and then poof, spikes will come up and smash you into the ceiling. You go through a tunnel, you're completely fine, you land on the ground. Oh, do I want to go left and grab this, or go right, and why is the floor raising, and I get crushed against the ceiling? They started throwing unfair traps at you here for no reason. The spikes here are brutal. This is also when I first learned a interesting difference between this Sonic and Sonic 2. Spikes are just death. You get no invincibility frames in this game where you can stand on spikes, you just die. Like, you'll bounce from spike to spike to spike. It's not that much of an issue if you hit a single row of it, but if you land on anything larger, you're done. On top of that, the levels completely lose their pacing. Green Hill Zone takes like 30 seconds to run through, even on a casual route once you learn where the speed shoes are, if I'm honest, because those things are just fast in this game. Marble Zone, 2 to 3 minutes. Spring Yard Zone, 2 to 3 minutes again. Labyrinth Zone ended up being half of my footage for my first take at this. Labyrinth Zone goes on for almost 6 or 7 minutes. Even as I got better at it, it was still going 4 to 5. I don't know if there's a route I'm missing or what, but it is ridiculous, the difficulty spike here. And it's the worst kind of difficulty spike, because it's not challenging you with platforming. It's just being bullshit. It's ruining your controls. It's why people hate underwater levels, you know? And then after your slow slog through this, full of deaths that will feel very, very unfair, assuming that you don't run out of lives, you're rewarded with one of the worst bosses in the game. So up to this point, making this video was a pleasure. I didn't think it would come out like it. And this boss starts out with you running at Eggman, probably jumping out of him out of habit, and seeing that you can hit him. Why is this a problem? Well, let me explain. You now have to jump through a labyrinth. No. You now have to jump through a gauntlet in order to try to catch up to him. Or at least that's what I thought. Turned out, after multiple attempts in which I was trying to outrun the water in order to kill Eggman before I got submerged and lost all chance of catching up to him, this is just a mandatory platforming check. There's no way of knowing this, and the fact that it lets you hit Eggman almost tricks you into thinking that you need to do something you don't have to. But, not sure I beat this on my first run. Oh no, I did. You finally beat this, and you're rewarded with what is probably the second best area in the game, Starlight Zone. And I'm gonna keep complaining about Labyrinth Zone throughout this video, don't you worry. But for now, let's just move on for the sake of expediency. Starlight Zone. Starlight Zone is almost like a proto-speed highway. It's a fast zone, it uses momentum really well, and the level design goes back to being what it used to be. It's really fun, like, it's really interesting. It's fun to optimize your route, it's fun to find secrets, it's still got a little bit of the bullshit where you will just die if you don't know what's ahead of you. This being my favorite example. But it's probably my second favorite area in this game. And I would play it much more often if it wasn't for the fact that you've got to beat Labyrinth Zone to get here. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people who played this when they were younger who played this when it was first released, rather, the young teens of the time, probably just did a lot of Green Hill Zone speedruns, and then once Sonic 2 is out, they played Sonic 2. But Starlight Zone is a lot of fun, and it's got one of the most interesting bosses in the game. A boss which makes you balance between managing your own positioning and managing bombs that will be stronger if you don't launch them up into the air. And you can also use these bombs to launch yourself up so you can hit Eggman. Overall, a great area, and one that I had a lot of fun with, but the bombs will tank your frame rate, and the fans will not let you move. But I had a lot of funny moments in Starlight Zone. And it really was where the game went back to being enjoyable, at least my second time through when I wasn't stressed that I was about to die, because Labyrinth Zone sucked all my lives away. Also, sometimes in Labyrinth Zone, the water mechanic at the end just doesn't work and it'll drown you if you miss a jump. Yeah. Anyway, so now you get into Scrap Brain Zone. And if the rest of this game was fun, more of a platformer than a Sonic game, kinda bullshit, Scrap Brain Zone is just a Kaizo level. The first time through here, you were going to die. And you're going to die to things that you just aren't really ready for, especially if you're used to Sonic 2 or Sonic 3, which are games with much better design, although, if I remember correctly, the last level of Sonic 2 was not fair either. But keep in mind, I was probably 6 when I got there, so my perspective could be wrong. Still have only beaten Sonic 3. Anyway, you get to Scrap Brain Zone, and you're introduced to a whole slew of different platform mechanics, and one area that is really fun to run through. It's a pure platforming challenge. This level does not take prisoners. It is not a level for people who are not good at the game. It will test you on everything you've learned, and it will do so brutally. But it's not a bad level. It's a little unfair. It feels like your rings are mostly pointless. But I would honestly say it's probably my third favorite level of the game, just because it's a lot of fun to try to rise to that challenge. So, as you battle your way through it, you find different routes, you accept the fact that there's new crushing mechanics that you need to learn and to avoid. All of that is a ton of fun. And then you get Labyrinth Zone Part 2. Oh no. Hey, just jumping in to clarify, it's Scrap Brain 3 that's another water level. The second I saw it, all I thought is, oh no, it's this again. Hence why I keep calling it Labyrinth Zone 2. It's not. It's Scrap Brain Zone, but yeah, in my head, this was just a continuation of Labyrinth, but no. Anyway, back to the video now. You have no idea the pure panic that I felt when I saw that it was another water level. Water sucks. It really sucks in the original Sonic. It kills the pacing. This game is like the very first Kaizo. There's spikes that are insta-killing. You need premonition to beat the game without dying. It's great for speedrunning. Water can sometimes just end you. Many of the traps feel trolly and intentionally placed, and it's haha funny once you know that you can avoid them, but when it happens, you just you feel cheated a lot of the time, and you will spend a lot of your first playthrough just bouncing between different damage things, collecting a ring, getting hit again. Things pop onto screen way too fast. But anyway, now you're in your second Labyrinth Zone. It's depressing. I was utterly despairing. I was not ready for it. I was questioning how long this could go on for. It felt like forever. And then I learned there's an alternative path that can make it take 30 seconds to beat. So yeah, I got really worked up over nothing in the end. But I will say this. On that alternative path, do not fall. Don't fall. I've never seen the end of the path that is not the alternative one. But it did not feel fun. Don't fall. I don't even care. I'm not curious about it. I don't want to see it. Don't fall. Anyway, so at the end of this Labyrinth Zone 2, you'll reach a bunch of springs. You hop on them, and this will take you to the final boss of the game, which feels pretty abrupt. I was not ready for the game to just kind of throw it at me. So, you fight the final boss, and it really sticks to the theme throughout the game, which is you get crushed. So, you have to try to not get crushed, and if you do that, you're basically golden, outside of the fact it's one hit, but it's very easy to dodge the electricity by just jumping. I beat the game 3 times, and some of those had multiple attempts at this boss, and all of those I only died to the electric attack once, and it was because I got cocky. I didn't jump when I could have just jumped. So the real danger is getting caught in the middle, as both of the middle pillars will come to crush you, and not reacting in time, and that's the end of you. As long as you watch out for that, it should be a very easy final boss. And with that, you've done it. You've beaten the game. You get to watch a cutscene of Sonic running back through Green Hill Zone. You get the credits, which show you The rest of the game, they include Labyrinth Zone there. I don't know why. Didn't really consider that a part of the game, but I guess they're proud of it. And you get a cutscene. Except... ooh. There's Chaos Emeralds in this game. And that leads me to the special stages. If you complete a level with 50 rings, which easier said than done on the harder levels, but if you can manage to do so, you will get into a special stage. If I described these special stages, as a kid, I didn't understand them. It felt like Sonic just kind of moved however he wanted, and whatever was happening was just happening. As an adult, you know, they still really don't make sense. The amount of control that you have at any given time is just finicky at best, and not really something that I understand. It's not really fun to play, but if you can manage to get to the end, you can get a Chaos Emerald, which will unlock the true ending. What is this true ending, you might ask? 10-second cutscene. That's right. You get like a 10-second cutscene, and you get to avoid Eggman mocking you at the end by juggling however many emeralds you didn't get. Are these worth it? No. Absolutely not. No. No. You don't get a cool reward, you don't get Supersonic, you sure as hell don't get Hypersonic. You get a brief cutscene for playing what just isn't fun. It's not worth it. Don't do it, please. All you get is a cutscene. Actually, if you collect enough rings, you can get a continue. If you're struggling with beating the game, and you want to go in there for that reason, by all means, go ahead. But, are the Chaos Emeralds worth gathering in a casual playthrough? No. No. I honestly could see myself just skipping these levels overall, because they're not really fun. They do have gameplay to them, don't get me wrong. I figured it out. I wasn't completely stupid. I realized that if you hit certain ones, it would change the rotation. Others would make it rotate faster or slower. The bumpers obviously bumped you, but it's not really the fun experience to go through the special stages, and the reward is not worth it. I don't care to get the true end. I beat the game. I beat all the fun parts, I beat all the stages, and that's really what matters. I didn't want to make myself miserable having to play through Labyrinth Zone multiple times just for the sake of getting an extra 10-second cutscene. Besides, I got enough footage of me dying in bullshit ways, I didn't need more. So, with all that said, what can I say about this game? How do I wrap this up? This game's amazing. For all the bitching I've done, this game, you can see that it laid the groundwork for what came next. And Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 only get better. This game is absolutely worth playing. Scrap Brain Zone is an amazing final level, and it really set the standards of the final level in Sonic games being a challenge. They don't hold your hand, they don't give it to you. You need to earn that. The levels which let you go fast, such as Starlight Zone, Green Hill Zone, they're incredible, and the design from them really carried over into the next games. The challenging platforming of zones like Marble Zone can be found in other games as well, but to a much lesser extent. Overall, it's worth playing because it shows you that this is the first game of the series, and you can see how it became such a hit, because there's nothing like this. Even the sequels to this game, which I would say improve upon it in almost every single way, don't have the same feel as the original game does. And for that reason, I think that it is absolutely worth going back and doing a retrospective of this series 30 years later. You've come a long way, Sonic, and I'm happy to see what the future holds for you. But, can you mod out Labyrinth Zone for real? I'd play this game so much more, just saying. Whew, thank you all so much for watching. Making this video was a pleasure. I didn't think it would come out like it did, and I had so much fun going through this. I hope that you enjoyed, I hope that you got to experience this game with me and have as much fun as I did. And I really am glad that I did this retrospective. Thank you for watching, like, comment, subscribe, or don't, and I'll see you with whatever I decide to do next. Peace.